We love to take a regular look at the coolest news coming out of the world of science, and boy, do we have cool news this week, including nanorobots that could help in medicine.
And a Canadian discovery in the sky that scientists have named Steve. Here with these stories and more, we're joined by scientist Merritt. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So let's start off with Steve.
Yes, exactly. So Steve it's all about Steve, but it's not a person. It's a night sky phenomenon.
That's right.
And photographers are excited about this?
Absolutely. So this is a great season for Steve as well, now that it's getting darker a little bit earlier in the evenings. So Steve is this narrow band of color, this ribbon of purple and white. It's beautiful, and it's occasionally viewed in the night sky. It's been viewed all around the world now, but it was first discovered by a photographer right here in Canada in Banff. And this is a great example of citizen science. So photographers presented scientists with images of Steve, and the scientists were stunned. So they worked together to learn more about it. We know now that Steve is not an aurora.
Okay.
It is very different from the northern lights. It's actually this river or current of very hot and fast-moving particles in the upper atmosphere, moving at about 6 kilometers per second.
Wow.
And that's what creates that purple arc in the night sky.
I gotta ask, why Steve?
The name is a great story. So the name comes from a children's movie where characters they meet something that they don't understand, this object. And so they named the object Steve to make themselves feel better. And so, photographers started to use this name, and scientists really wanted to keep it. So they reverse engineered a scientific name for it. Strong thermal emission velocity enhancement.
I love it.
AKA
Steve.
Of
Okay,
course.
so from Steve to whales, some species of whales actually go through menopause, and you say this demonstrates the social importance of grandmothers.
That's right. This is a shout out to all of the wonderful grandmothers out there. Most species reproduce throughout their entire lifetimes. Humans, of course, are an exception to that because women face menopause. Well, you might ask, is this a consequence of modern medicine, extending our lifetimes so much? Well, we know now that several species of whales also experience a relatively long period of infertility at the end of their lives. And this raises a really fundamental question. If animals are built to pass on their genes, how could it be beneficial to stop reproducing? Research shows it's because of the importance of grandmothers in social systems.
Really?
It's often better for a grandmother to care for her grandchildren than for that grandmother to keep on reproducing or having babies herself. So we only see this. We only see menopause in social systems, in species that live in groups. So it raises sort of new meaning to that old term. It takes a village or a pod to raise children.
Very cool. We only have about 30 seconds left, Merritt. So if we can, let's move on to the nanobots, because this is so cool.
Yeah, so nanobots are these incredibly tiny robots. Several of them can fit inside a single blood cell, and they're being used in all sorts of medical developments to fight cancer, for example. So in this new study, scientists created nanobots that can mimic some of the most complicated patterns in biology. They can swarm like bees or like flocks of birds. It's this incredible dance. The neat thing is that much of this behavior is spontaneous, so it emerges from the group. And by harnessing this group intelligence, these robots can achieve a lot more on their own or a lot more together than they can on their own. So they're self-organizing robots.
So we're at the cusp of something incredible there. Merritt, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.